that is one thing. The other thing, before we move to the next topic, still pertaining to communicating with actors, is when you're trying to give direction to an actor, you need to have a fine balance, because you don't want to be too vague, but you don't want to be too specific either. And what I mean by that is, actors hate it if you tell them something that's just really stupid, like, like, hey, that was good. Can you just give me a little more of that? A little more, or can you bring it up and can you bring it down? That is not the correct way to communicate with an actor. You need to be more specific, like, I liked your line delivery in that, but in the next one, I want you to be to show that you're feeling sorrow in this moment, but you're also willing to let go of this, and you have come to accept this situation. So that way, you're letting the actor visualize what kind of situation they're in. Don't be like, hey, be sad, be happy, or look up or look down, or
Zavi, should
bring
we
it up
give
or bring it down.
examples? Should we give examples to the actors? Make your face like you just had an orange after toothpaste. Like examples like that.
No, so the one thing about that is, when it comes to examples, like I said, not really. You want the actor to be more imaginative. Actors like to have their own contribution into a scene. So you don't want to, one thing, like I heard, like, you don't want to tell the actor, I want you to try to act like Brad Pitt in that movie, in that scene or something. No, they want to do their own thing. They want to be original. So one thing is, you can give them sort of light examples, but don't be too specific about what you want. And the one thing that you should never do with an actor is act for them. So that's one mistake sometimes directors do. They don't like a certain line that the actor's delivering, and he's supposed to say, hey, can you get out of my face? Okay. But you as a director want him to say, hey, can you get out of my face? And you go to the actor and you say, say it my way. No, say it my way. Hey, can you get out of my face? Actors are not there to mime you. They're not meant to be a chameleon and repeat what you do as a director. They want to be able to contribute to the scene. So don't ever line read for them, like act out how they need to do. They know how to do their job. And that's the best part about filmmaking is, everybody is contributing in their own way. They're artists themselves. So give them room to be imaginative, to be creative, to do things a little bit their own way. You'll be surprised as a director. Sometimes actors, they even change the lines, but they can do something better. It looks better than the idea you had in your head. So that is important, that you're not too specific, but you're not too vague, and you let them play around with the lines.
Sure. So Zavi, you said that as you were giving a very nice example, that the director should not act it out for the actors, because the actors will do their part. It's their job. But how I'll say how a director should be imaginative about putting what he wants to say in words instead of like showing it to the actors. What is required? What is required in it? A nice vocabulary or something? Piyush wants to add something.
To be honest,
Zavi, take some rest. Take some rest. I want you to speak more, but take some rest. Piyush wants to say something.
Cigarette. Yeah, please.
So what I was add to this is, as a me personal, my director's vision, this is where your beats of the story comes into place. So what I do whenever I shoot a short film or feature, I always write down beat. So the last short film which I shot, I wrote almost 1,025 beats.
Oh my God.
I wrote it by myself. I shared in my session. I wrote 1,000 beats on an Excel sheet, and then I gave it to my actors when printed it out. So if you want to communicate with an actor, if I say, just say this line in an angry way, I don't have to tell him. If he's a good actor, we give him the beat sheet and he sees scene 24A, scene 24 Apple, this is the scene. So I have already elaborated the scene, emotion, empathy, everything is already into the beat story. So the actor should always go with the beats of the story as well, from director's perspective also, because that's how I direct. I write each and every beat of every moment. So that's why I spend around 2,000 pages on a feature film writing beats, which a good actor recognizes. It's really easy for him. I don't need to go and talk to him, implement. He will be doing the same thing, which I've already written in my beats of the story. So for me, that is very, very important thing.
Absolutely. So like we've discussed this before, like each director has a different process of working with it. And what Piyush is doing, that is also absolutely correct. But me personally, and some directors, they don't like working with beat sheets. They like things being a little more organic. So me personally on set, I know the beats that I want, and I tell them the beats that I want in that moment, because sometimes I want the beats to change in a scene. So that's why I want the actor to sort of come in there as sort of as empty as he can. In that moment, we can throw in more ideas into his head. So some directors like to work with beat sheets, some don't. Me personally, I like to tell them beats in there in the moment, and sometimes those beats can even change. So, but it's completely correct to create a beat sheet. Also, it's just a lot of work. Also,
Ah,
I can't believe you wrote so many beats.
it took me 34 days to finish a beat sheet
Piyush,
of
Oh
Piyush
my
has a habit of going extreme sometimes. Zavi, your last point on communication with the actors, and then I'll love to ask from Piyush about,
God.
we have given a brief about what Slate is, but Piyush, you have been AD on various sets. So once Zavi finishes, please do explain us how, once everything is set up, the lighting, grip, everything is set up, how that goes from ready to action. What's the process? Just give it a brief after Zavi finishes. Zavi, back to you about communication with actors, the last point you were talking about.
So the last point is, it's a much smaller one, is subtext. Subtext is very important when you're communicating with actors, and I will discuss this further in one of our other sessions where I discuss some of my films, because there was in the filmmaking course you do a film called the Chekhovian film, and that is all about subtext. Now, what is subtext is, if an actor is delivering a line, it's the intention behind that line. So sometimes an actor says something, but he's supposed to mean something else. So that is something you need to communicate with your actors. For example, let's say you're giving a line, like let's say,
I'll say all one-liners have a very big subtext to them. Like if you talk
exactly.
about The Dark Knight, the joke, the line from Joker is why so serious. So that
Mhm.
dialogue itself has a big subtext to it. The Joker's history, his past, his present, his intentions, the mind state of him and his enemies. It's a huge subtext behind that particular one line.
Absolutely, absolutely. So yeah, exactly, just like that. Let's say you give an example to an actor, and he's supposed to say a line like, I love you. Okay, let's say that. Okay, but so there's different ways. You tell them he's supposed to say I love you because he's meeting this girl after years, and he wants to confess his love to her, or something like that, and he wants to let her know that. So he says, uh, I love you. You know, there's that. However, the situation can completely change, and this person is he's feeling uncomfortable saying it, and so he says, I love you, but his line delivery would be more like, I love you, you know. So it's really the intention, the subtext behind that sentence, you know. So giving the actor that the subtext is very important of the line, because a line itself can be delivered 1,000 different ways. What is the subtext? What is the intention behind that line? That really helps the actor bring the right kind of emotion out when giving that line. So that was the last point, subtext.
Thank you so much, Zavi, for that. Before coming to Piyush, where he explains about what happens once we are ready on set two, when we speak action, I would love to take any questions we have so far.
we do have one question of Prateek, and that's the same question which I was going to talk about. Prateek have already asked something, that what is the correct order of these calls? I would like to know that. Like, if I'm not wrong, it's never lights, camera, action. That's correct. That's not the action. So once everything is set, lighting is set, actors are at their places, directors behind the monitor. So that's AD's job, and I'll be doing AD.
Piyush, even before that, if I'm not wrong, once the actors, the original actors, the stand-ins go out and the original actors come in, uh, does the AD shout that there are actors on set?
We never shout at the actors. I mean, we just so before bringing them on set, that's the second AD's job. He goes and bring them on set. That shot is ready. So let's go on the set. So when the actors are on set, the first AD communicates with them because the director is behind the monitor. If he needs to implement anything, then he goes on set. The first AD communicates with them. We show them the marks, which second AC always put them. We show them the actor is ready till the time small movements are going on 30 seconds, they rehearse the line. And then when everything is ready, the camera gives me a good setup. So the AD shouts. So I'll say it in the filmmaking line. So what we do with AD is quiet on set, so that everybody knows we're going to start filming. So
Quiet
that's
on
AD.
set.
Set, roll sound, that's action for sound. Roll camera, camera starts rolling. And then I go back, take a step back with the director and say, it's all yours. Then it's director's call to call action. Nobody on the set can call action rather than a director. So that's AD's position to say quiet on set, roll sound, roll camera, then all yours to director, then director says action, and that's how we start filming each scene. That's happened every day. I mean, every scene is to be shot with this, and that's AD's job to do this.
Piyush, if it is going to be a very complicated camera move, and the camera is placed in a certain position, do you have to ask the camera operator if he or she is ready? Do we do that?
I didn't get a question. So
like there are some situations where you actually have to roll the camera, push the camera towards something, and then after they say action, we have to pull the camera out of something, or to do something else. Is that the case where we actually ask for, is the frame set or not?
Oh yes, totally. So the frame set is, so thank you for mentioning, I missed this point. So when you say roll camera and roll action, that is the time the DP is looking into the frame, and then you say frame set. So thank you for mentioning that, I missed that.
Yes,
that's a
yes.
So
definitely. Yes, because there are, yes, because Piyush, there are some scenes where you are, the camera is on a crane, and there is no way that the camera can be reached directly, and there is no remote control to the camera. So what the AC can do, the first assistant camera does, the first assistant camera is the one who rolls the camera, or there are some times where the camera operator can himself roll the camera if he or she wants to. So when the AD shouts roll camera, the button can be pressed and the camera will start rolling. Then the grips will actually lift the crane up, tilt the camera to its position wherever the frame has to be. And it can be a case where the grip actually shouts frame set. And then the AD can refer to the director and say, it's all yours.
That's correct, because that's DP saying when we hear frame set, that is indication, that's the last indication which director gets. Because when the DP frame set, director can call for action without any hesitation. Thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah, so there's no line as lights, camera, action.
Yeah, I mean, that might be in few commercials which you see, but that's not the real term which we use on set.
Yes, because lights are ready much before the actors arrive on set. Lights should be ready. I believe that if there is some kind of contraption with the light or with the grip that is supposed to happen, for example, the lights have to change during the shot. So, the AD can actually shout for, the crew, whosoever is responsible for it. Are the lights ready? Yes. So they just get a confirmation before they start to roll sound. That can happen. Coming back to you.
There's a question from Mehak. Do you want to answer that, Navneet? She's asking about the slate, the clapper. Or what's the role of who does the clapper?
Sure.
Do you want to talk a little bit about first AC, second AC?
Why not? In terms of cinematography, there are three crews basically. So in the first department, the camera department, we have multiple people. We'll be talking about that tomorrow with Ahmed. So he'll be briefly explaining what each person in each department of the cinematography does. But just as an example, the clapper is usually mentioned as a clapper in India, but in United States, in Hollywood, or in short films, it's usually the second AC who is responsible also to put the T marks on the floor and name them and maintain short. I'm sorry, I'm just skipping that word out of my head. Shortlist. Sorry, not a shortlist. It's not the shortlist. It's the camera report. It's the camera report. Yes, sir. It's the camera report. It's not the shortlist, but it is referenced from the shortlist because the camera report mentions the short number, if it's 3 alpha, if it's 3 beta, if it's 3 cat or something like that. So that has to be also written down by the second AC or the clapper. So he or she maintains a nice record of every shot that was taken on set, and also mentioning take number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. So the clapper, the role of the clapper is to actually come in and clap the slate. I don't have a physical slate with me. I used to have it in New York. But anyways, do you have it, Piyush?
Wait, I have it. I have one.
Oh, Zavi has a slate. Zavi has a slate.
So
We'll be explaining much more about, wow, that's a nice slate, Zavi. That's a nice slate, Warner Brothers Studios. So the slate, the part that you see actually moving, it should clap at the very moment, and that clap sound is also visual, plus it should be heard in the sound mixer. So when editing, these two can be synced together. There are some slates which are actually, you know, the sound departments get those kinds of slates to the set, and they offer that slate to the second AC. What that slate does, it's a little advanced, but you know, once the second AC claps that slate, it syncs automatically with the sound.
They apply the time coder on.
Yeah, so time code runs inside the slate. It's also synced with the camera. It's also synced with the sound mixer. So all these three things run on the same time code. So what do you write on slates? Yeah, what do you? Yeah. So what do you write on slates? So we'll be talking about
just before you get to that. I'm sorry. Just before you get to that, just to make it a little easier for them, people to understand why it's important to sync sound with the slate, why it's important to clap. How that actually works is when you because talking about timed slates, slates with time codes, it's a very different thing. But basic slates like this, why it's important to clap is because when you clap and you see the when you're editing the footage in post. What that clap does is it creates it makes the sound peak. So when you see a wave file, an audio file,
yeah,
it spikes. Exactly.
There's a spike in sound.
Basically. Yeah, so there's a spike in sound, and that makes it very easy to sync your video footage with your audio file. Because at the moment where you see this part, you see this touch this part. At that same moment, in the audio file, you're going to see a spike in the audio. So that exact second, you can match the video and your audio, and that syncs your video and your audio perfectly. So
yes, given the conditions that the mic should be pretty close to the slate while the clap happens. So what do you write on slates? We'll be talking about that tomorrow. In detail, but the basic, the short number is written on it. The short alphabet is written on it. So if it's one whole scene where a person wakes up and eats the breakfast, it's this whole scene that will be showed in like 1 minute or so. And there are different camera angles to it. So different camera angles are denoted as A, B, C, D, whereas the scene remains the same. It remains 3. And then in the third box, we write down take. So it's take number 1, take 2, take 3, take 4. Before slating down, before clapping everything down, the slater or the clapper or the second AC also says out what's written on the slate. So it can be basically as scene 3, take scene 3A, take 2, and that's it. He or she doesn't have to speak out the whole entire movie's line, or who's the director or who's the gaffer and so forth. Essentially, the date is also the date and the approximate time of the day. If it's a day of it, or if it's a night, if the shoot happens in a day or in the night, that's also mentioned on the slate, just to keep a visual reference of it and also an audio reference of it. And that is the reason why the clapper reads out the entire slate. Before he claps, he'll be saying scene 3A, take 1, and then clap. So the first line that is recorded, the first line that is, I'm sorry, Piyush, I'll just end this sentence over here. The first line that is recorded on audio should be the shot number, and also the first frame you see it once you open the footage in post-production should be the whole slate covering the camera's frame. It's advisable to do that. If it's at a distance, that can happen too. What do you do on the slates? If I'm filming with 3 cameras, how do I make that slate visible in 3 cameras? If you are using 3 cameras at the same time, the easiest way to do that is, first of all, see if the slate is visible in 2 or more frames. That can be one case. If not, shout and give 3 claps. This is clap 1 for camera 1, clap. This is clap 2, camera 2. Clap 3, camera 3. And in front of all these cameras, the clapper walks to all these cameras and claps 3 times. So it gets recorded in sound. We get 3 spikes and we get 3 claps in the video also. So it can be synced like that. What is line script and whose job is it to do it? Requesting you to talk more in detail regarding the same tomorrow and as the time permits, of course. Sure, Mehak, sure. Ayush will be taking your question now. Ayush, Mehak will be shortly talking about details in cinematography tomorrow with Ahmed. That's, you need to sit down with a pen and paper for tomorrow's session because we'll be speaking out a lot of gibberish language. So make sure you note that down. I'll try to do my best to make a slideshow of the same thing. Zavi, back to you.
Now I'm saying for the line script question, I think Piyush, do you want to take that one? I think you'd be better at explaining that.
I wanted to, because we skipped his question, it went up. That's why I was raising my finger because Ayush was. So line script is basically even a director or a script supervisor makes in the pre-production while in the production as well. So line script is basically what you can say in a short term is continuity of a script in which the director or the script supervisor makes sure that everything is improvised according to the script, how is it going on. So for example, the wardrobe should be the same what is written. So a line script is a whole script in which you divide the script into 3 sections. One should be the wardrobe, one should be the actor, one should be the what is happening in the action. So a script supervisor always have a line script in his hand. So for example, you have a sheet of page divided into 3 and you divide all the wardrobes, actors, action into it, and you have to maintain the continuity along with it. So that's one which a script supervisor always have on set. But on another detail, this is also made by the director while working into the pre-production when we do the line script. And Zavi, if you can add on to it.
Yeah. So to that, to what you said, I mean, you explained it perfectly. That's about it. It's basically your script, and you're detailing the things that need to go into the script. It's sort of like also like working on a scene breakdown, where you create a scene breakdown, and in that you create a list of what's the wardrobe in this scene, what is the action that's demanded, maybe also the beats can also go in there, also like what props are used. So different aspects of just a more detailed version of what is happening in the space during those certain lines that are delivered in the script. So that's yeah. I can't speak too much about it. That's about it. Yeah.
Yeah. So we have another question from the sensational Stina. That is it possible to do a zoom showing in particular might be the word over here, camera angles and movements? It might be a challenge due to space and visibility, but could you do that? Sure, we'll actually be doing that in the future sessions, which will be much more about cinematography. We are still talking about directing actors as of today. The official, I'll say the production part starts from tomorrow's session. We'll be diverting on Sunday, and then we'll be coming back for the next whole week talking just about cinematography. What are the camera angles? What is the basics of lighting? We'll be actually making some stories. We'll be picking out the story that we did in episode 3 back again with Jenna. And we'll be continuing that same story, and also jotting down some notes, making some floor plans for you guys. Zavi, do you remember the story? Have you heard of the story that Jenna told us on episode number 3?
The turtle ones. The
turtles
Three,
going to a
yeah,
rave,
three, yes,
kind
yeah,
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 three
yeah.
turtles, three turtles.
a little bit. That
So
started off
just
somewhere
keep,
else, and you guys took it to a completely different level.
yes, we took it to somewhere else, but as just an example, if you are given that movie to direct, you have three actors with you who have like the full size turtle suit or whatever you want to call it. It's the whole costume. Um, what will be your challenges that you instantly think in your mind will you face? Number one will be costume itself. You know, the heavy, you
Exactly.
know, the time it takes every day to get these. If for example, it's a 1 month long shoot, you're taking
Mhm.
your time. It's a feature film. It's a 1 or 2 month long shoot. Uh, Number one challenge from my side will be the costume and the makeup itself. What else do you think will be the challenges, and how will you resolve that with the actors? Talk from that perspective.
Um, so firstly, yes, costume and makeup would be the biggest headache on set, because with a lot of actors, they get really frustrated. A lot of these, if you've seen behind the scenes of a lot of these movies, big Hollywood movies, where actors, um, they're supposed to spend like, like 18 hours sometimes in makeup, just getting the prosthetics and the limbs up, and that can be frustrating for an actor. So that would be one challenge. The other things, before I do, can you just
Zavi,
briefly
will you actually visit the actor, like if he or she is in her own RV, or like
of
her
course,
own dressing man? Will you frequently visit them
of course.
and like talk to them while they're doing their makeup
Yeah,
or prosthetics?
you have to frequently visit them, and you have to sort of like look after them, and like tell them like, oh my god, you're looking amazing. Do you have any idea this is going to look so awesome? Get them excited for the project a little bit, and also cater towards them. Ask them if they need something, whatever it takes. Just sit with them, talk about their role, but also talk about general things in life. Just make them feel comfortable, make them not feel like they have to be, they make time not be on their minds, like they're not thinking about, I've been here for 12 hours or something. So just that's just very simple. You just have to sit with your actors and make them feel good. That's about it. Entertain them a little bit. What was the word for it? Validate them a little bit. Yeah, encourage them a little bit. Get them excited for what's going on. Like, yes, it's a tough process, but the end result is going to be beautiful. So you make them see your vision like that. So that would be one thing. The other challenges, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to ask you to just repeat to me the synopsis of the story, like what exactly happened in that
So
movie.
the synopsis was, we have three turtles with us. They are in their early 40s. I don't know what their financial status is, but they end up spending their whole money that they had on a rave party, eating some lettuce for some reason, getting high on lettuce, smoking lettuce, and then uh, they actually want to buy some more lettuce, so they have to invade a bank. They plan for it for the next 48 hours, and then they end up in jail. So what will be your challenges with the actors? What do you instantly think of?
So the first point was makeup and costumes. The other would be, I guess, props maybe, and having to know like if the actors have any kinds of dietary restrictions, or if they're supposed to, I don't know how you would smoke the cabbage, but I guess yeah, like they're supposed to smoke cabbage. So if they have an issue with smoking the cabbage, how can you work around that? Do you need to hire a double to come in to smoke that, or do you need to find some way to fake the smoke? So, or is it something you would do in post, in like yeah, like a CGI kind of a thing? I don't know. So that would be a challenge with them. And I guess this film is very stunt driven also. So making sure like if they're gonna do their stunts themselves, if they're comfortable, if all the right safety measures have been taken, and also you would help in keeping their energy up. So when they're doing the stunts, you keep them motivated. You make sure that everything is choreographed well. So you have a fight choreographer or a chase, a stunt coordinator of some kind. So in rehearsals, those things are practiced really well, and making sure that your actors are they're physically fit enough to play those roles, I guess. So yeah, I guess that would be some of the few challenges
Piyush
that
wants to add in. Piyush, thank you so much, Zavi. Piyush wants to add in.
My
Before
point of
Piyush,
view,
have
yep.
a comment from sensational Stina. That would be amazing, and it's my first time joining. Thank you so much for joining in. Are you on tomorrow? Yes, we are on tomorrow. Zavi, was this episode number 5? This was episode number 5, right?
5.
This is episode number 5. I had planned for 14 episodes in the beginning, but now we'll be having many more guests. Zavi is currently speaking us from New York. I'm talking like a reporter for some reason. Piyush is also joining us from New York, but we'll be having people from all over the world, definitely. So Stina, thank you so much, and join us tomorrow. Also, we'll be starting cinematography from tomorrow. Today is going to be one of the last sessions we talk about direction. Zavi, Piyush, I'm sorry, Piyush.
So how Zavi explained, that's amazing. But how I would see the film as a director, I would not take any tension about wardrobes, makeup. I would hire a good producer and give him all the headache to get hired, but more departments. So I would just give my script, give my money to the producer. So that's not my headache anymore. That's his headache to make the film. So that's why I blame it on the producer. How the people say in this industry, anything happen, blame it on the producer. So I would hire a good producer who will hire a great costume designer who will take care of all the logistics, which we were talking. Good makeup artist who can do everything. A good production designer as well who can make all the props for me, like cabbage smoking. They will do it for me. So there are few that, like, that is my point of view. There are few directors who don't take care of all these things. They focus on the story and the actors, and they hire good people who are the head of the department, and that's how we make a good film. That's my personal opinion as a director.
No, I agreed with you on that.
Zavi.
What I was trying to say with that was not in terms of, like, obviously you would hire a producer to get those things. I was just talking about in terms of me as a director working with the actors. The challenge would be trying to make them comfortable with the long process of makeup and props, of dealing with smoking or something, being physically fit. So just as a director, dealing with the actors, how to make them feel comfortable with those things, of course.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's very good and valid point on that part. We have a comment from Sensational Scene that I'm in NY2. Please invite me on your set if you're filming in New York. I can help. So we have another connection in New York for sure. Me and you can reach out to me and Zavi.
Sensational Stina, please, if you can, we invite you to unmute your mic, and if you want to speak with us, definitely you can do that right now. We'd love to hear from you. Can you hear us? Oh, you mean after this? No, you can. If you want, you can unmute your microphone right now.
Right now.
Hi.
Hello. How are you?
I'm good. Hi. How are you?
We are all good.
I'm also in New York. I went to NIFI 2 years ago. I graduated from there. So if you're filming anything in New York area, available and would love to be on set to help as well. So
that's amazing.
Definitely.
Yeah, we make connection. Definitely. We should contact each other, share our MDBs, Instagram, get connected. Hopefully after COVID, things get soon real good, real fast, so that you guys can merge on one project as well, for sure. That's why Nav is doing this. Meet filmmakers, everyone, so that you can collaborate with each other.
I mean, we guys were already at home, and I just thought about connecting all of us together. We were all at home doing actually nothing. We aren't allowed to be on physical sets, and I'm stuck here in India right now. So anyways, thank you so much, Tina, for joining us. We'll be having these sessions for the next couple of days. Our projections were till the 25th of May. So
Okay.
yeah, we'll be continuing much more after that because we never know when these lockdowns and everything else ends. So thank you so much for talking to us. And just a few more minutes, we'll be ending the session pretty soon. Thank you.
Yeah.
So Zavi,
So
you see the next
mhm.
topic we have to talk about on your screen. Can you?
Yeah. So when let's keep this a little more brief because I mainly wanted to focus on directing actors, but I'd like to talk about the relationship between a director and a DOP. But of course, most of the people joining us in this podcast are cinematographers, so I'm pretty sure you'll be covering a lot of this in future episodes. But I'll just give my perspective a little bit about the importance of the cinematographer to me as a director. I don't want to get too technical about things, but just talk about how to build a good working relationship with a cinematographer as a director. So, so starting off, what is a cinematographer? We've already touched on that. But to me, what I feel like, personally, I think a cinematographer is probably the most important role in the film, I have to say. Um, I like directing, but to me personally, I find it to be the most important role because without the cinematographer, you don't really have a film because you can learn how to direct actors. You can be a writer, you can be a stage director. What really determines if what you're shooting is going to look the quality of it, if it's going to look like it's a sitcom, if it's going to look like it's a web series, if it's going to look something cinematic like it's Hollywood. It all depends on the cinematographer. So there is no film without a cinematographer. Directors can work on stages and stuff, yes, but to make a film, a cinematographer is the most important role. And so that's why it's important to have a good relationship with them, to respect them, and they help decide the quality of the project. Now, just a second. So how I approach this is a lot of directors, they like working with different cinematographers for each project. Me personally, I like to create a strong interpersonal relationship with a cinematographer, and if our visions match, I feel comfortable working with him on pretty much all my films, and that was my case back in NIFA and even before that. So I had a DOP who I met, and you have to meet them. You have to talk about the kind of movies you like, the references you can share, but beyond that, even music and other parts of art that you connect with. If you build a good connection with that person, they have to. Your visions need to match, and also he needs to be crazy enough to encourage and believe in all your crazy ideas as a director. Cinematographer, you need to have a relationship with a cinematographer who you tell him, I have this crazy script idea. And my really good friend Emil Javier, who also studied cinematography at NIFA, he's in the Philippines now, and he was my DOP for most of my films. And every time I'd share a script with him, uh, and I'd share that script with a lot of people, and they would just be like, "Bro, I don't think so. How are you gonna do this? How are you gonna make it happen?" Meanwhile, with him, he wouldn't question what the script was. He'd be like, "That is fucking insane. Let's do it. I'm gonna get these lenses. I'm gonna shoot it this way, no matter how crazy it sounds." So it's important to build that kind of synergy, that kind of really creative kind of camaraderie with the cinematographer. So there is that, and what was I trying to say? And yeah, so the importance of what a cinematographer is, I want to give this little analogy just so people understand what a film set is like. Imagine there's a ship, and the person who's steering the ship is the director. Yes. The producer is the person who probably he's the CEO of the company that
Made
that
the,
that that,
he's the one
that
who
owns the ship.
made this. Yeah, owns
Yeah,
the ship,
yeah,
definitely.
yeah. The first AD is your first running mate. So he's in charge of taking care of your entire crew on the ship. What is the DOP? The DOP is the engineer who built the ship. That's literally the way I look at it. There is no ship without the DOP. So that's why you need to really respect your cinematographer, and they're not your employee. Even though yes, you're the director, you're on. It's your vision, yes. But a cinematographer is in a unique position because he is not somebody who's just working for you. He's collaborating with you. So he's not an employee. He's a collaborator. you both together determine what the film is going to look like. So yeah.
Good point.
Good point, Zavi. Good point about that. The boat analogy was pretty good. That actually gives a sense. I can see it all moving now. Zavi, I think we have covered most of the topics we were supposed to discuss today. The conversation about going to film school and what you learned from film school will be in all of these sessions we have had till now, and we'll be having in the future. We always have the conversation of what comes,
That's fine. Apologies
what
for
happens right
technical
after
difficulties in
school.
the beginning. So yeah,
Yeah, I
I
mean,
imagine we took a lot
the
of
session the session went pretty good right after the difficulties were fixed. And
Yeah.
any other point you would love to add in if you want to?
Just the last thing, and this was in what I wanted to talk about relationship with the DOP, but actually it applies to all aspects of filmmaking. All people who are working in your crew, whether it's on set or even in post, that you have to understand that working in film, yes, you may be the director, it may be your vision, but you have to understand every person on set is an artist themselves. And they have their own visions also. Even if you're looking at a gaffer or an AC, each person is putting their own creativity into how they're going to do their job. So when it comes to communicating with people on set, especially like I said, when you're talking to an actor, you don't want to be too vague, but you don't want to be too specific. Give them room to be imaginative and create. Likewise, when talking to a cinematographer, you want to be very clear and specific about your vision, but you don't want to micromanage them. You don't want to, just because you may be a director and you may have also studied cinematography, so you know exactly what you want, yes. But if you're hiring a DP, you don't want to tell them that this is the, like, while you're on set, you're trying to show the DOP like, this is the kind of camera movement I want. These are exactly the lenses I want. This is the f-stop I want you to set your
Zavi,
camera
I
at.
mean,
You don't want to.
not the details like f-stop, but much of the details
Yeah.
can be actually discussed in pre-production with the DP.
In pre-production, you create a short list, of course. Yes, you storyboard it, you shortlist it. But what I mean to say by that is that you want to let the DOP also be creative. That you don't want them to you don't want to tell them how to do their job, and that applies to every part of it. Like the DOP knows how to do their job. Even if you understand their job really well, but you want them to collaborate. You want them to actually communicate with you, and they give you ideas of how they could shoot it, what kind of lights they could use, what kind of camera they could use, what kind of lenses they could use. And that's the best part about it, that when you collaborate, rather than dictating exactly, micromanaging, basically. You don't want to micromanage everything about it. That's the best part, is you storyboard it, and you give your storyboard to your DOP, and then listen to their interpretation of it and how they feel best to shoot it. Storyboards are also very important. That's another little topic to talk about. As a director, some people don't storyboard, but I like to storyboard. And just to explain to people who are not too experienced with filmmaking, what storyboards are basically a visual interpretation of what you want to shoot on set. You draw these things out. But some people get worried about storyboarding. They're like, I can't draw, so I don't know if I should storyboard. You don't need to know how to draw. You can even make stick figures. That's one way to storyboard. You can even go to the location and take photographs of characters and use those as storyboards. But if you make a storyboard, it becomes really easy to communicate with your DOP what is your vision, because you've drawn it. So now the DOP can see what's in your head, and then they can make it better. So that was the last point I wanted to touch up on.
Thank you, Zavi. Thank you so much. I will share my screen and show a sample of storyboard, how a storyboard looks like. Piyush, do you want to say something?
No, I mean, as Zavi said, many directors don't like to draw. So people do hire storyboard artists also. That's also one part of the pre-production of the department which take care of it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a question? Do you storyboard every single thing in the scene so you can write out some part? Yep, Sina,
What's the
we
question?
do. Yep, she's asking that do you storyboard every single things in the scene in storyboards, or you can write out some parts? So, well, that depends. I mean, what I would personally do is, yes, you should storyboard everything, but if you need small things which are really good details, with like for example, a gun is lying on the floor. If you need to show that in the scene, then definitely you would have to draw it in a storyboard, like Nav is showing right now. And the second block, you see the guys doing painting with the storyboard thing. So that's the thing, because that postcard is a very now your mic.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I was not holding my space bar for some reason. But anyways, the second, as Piyush mentioned, in the second frame, you just see a sketch, and then the description of that thing is given below. Anyone with the basic cinematography or knowledge about filmmaking can actually interpret this into what the actual shot will come out to be. This is going to be a POV, and you have the camera movement will be, you have to zoom into the postcard. So these diagrams actually makes it pretty clear to everyone on set. If it's basically going to be amongst the key people on set. Not the electricians on set will not be able to see this. It's a reference for the key grip, the gaffer, the DOP, and the production department maybe. Because in the fourth one, you see there are three girls sitting down. There might be some references to how their hairstyle will look like, as the visionary or the director has already mentioned. The color or the shade of their film or their swimsuits are mentioned, and it's going to be a slider shot. So all these things have been already mentioned in the storyboard, and it's a pretty good visual reference for explaining your thoughts
That's
to
right.
the DOP, the anyone on set actually. Zavi.
Yeah, I'm just gonna reflect on both of what you guys said, because that was beautifully, perfectly explained, actually. Yeah. So I'm just gonna go on the same point. This is a really good example that you shared. Now, to talk about storyboards, like I said, it is not necessary to draw everything, but it's just the more you do it, the better it is. The same way as you're creating character profiles, it's as a director, you need to be very specific about your vision, and the more information that you give to your actors, to your directors, to everybody on set, the easier their job becomes, and the easier it's going to be shooting your film. So when it comes to storyboards, uh, you don't have to make a storyboard for every little detail, but really what you need to do is you're creating your frame, and it's the frame. So you want to make sure you in that frame you're explaining what is taking place in that frame. However, if there's specific actions that need to happen, like you said, somebody lifting up a gun, or somebody, there's a close up of this person's face, but then you see him smiling, and that smile represents a certain beat, it's a change in the scene dynamics. Then yeah, of course you have to. It's up to you. It's how much you want to explain to your DOP what exactly you want. If you're really specific about something that you want in there, then you have to draw it out. However, you don't need to know how to draw really well. You can hire a storyboard artist, but good directors, they try to storyboard themselves.
Yeah.
um,
So
because
the example on screen right now can be example of a professional storyboard artist doing the same thing, as the details are pretty accurate, and this is how. Yeah, it's
yeah,
it's from one of the Nike commercials. So this is one of the storyboards. It doesn't go to a frame by frame reference. That it's the director's final wish in the edit also to include anything he wants or she wants. But over
yeah,
here, as we can see, there's no details written at the bottom, if what's the shot type and what kind of movement is used, but there are some arrows which uh, show you how the camera will move during this whole sequence. So yeah, storyboards are interesting. If you want to
yeah,
do it, as Avi said, just start with stick figures. If you cannot draw like this, start
exactly.
with stick figures. Draw as much
Yeah,
as you can, as we
The
saw
point is
in
to
the
communicate. That's all. That's all. You don't need to show that you're a great artist. It's just to communicate.
exactly
So stick figures even work. Even stick figures can
exactly
work.
exactly. So yeah, Zavi, storyboard, interesting topic. We should just have one session on how to break
Yeah.
down the script and write storyboards. We'll do that later, I guess. Let's go to theories and all that later.
Okay.
Yeah. Anything else you want to talk about, or do you want to take some questions?
Sure. Let's take some questions if there are any more. How long has this session been so far?
Assuming 2 hours, yeah. 11:30 we
Oh,
started.
wow.
Yeah, it's 2 hours now. More than 2 hours.
I mean, minus
Zavi,
the
I'm
30
sorry.
minutes in the beginning, we were
So
the
1.5,
technical difficulties. I
1.5.
apologize for that.
Zavi, before we move towards the end, I'm sorry I did not start the recording at the very beginning of this episode. I'm so sorry for that. I just realized while you were speaking about the the communication with actors point, and then is when I realized कि record को नहीं record हो रहा है ना
What?
ये सब. Yeah, and
What?
then yeah, I completely
Oh my
forgot
God.
about starting the record.
With
I'm
communicating with actors was like the last part of the actors relationship I was talking about.
But
Shit.
I have been recording it for the last I have been recording it for the last 1 hour or so. But I'm so sorry, Sabi. I forgot to
That's
record your fuck
Blame
ups.
it on the host. Blame it on the host.
Blame it on the host. Okay.
damn you.
Um,
No, but it's been fun. This was a
while I
good
was
episode.
showing the first poster, what I should do is start the recording then and there.
I guess
I'll
it
do
was
that for.
recording. I guess it
No,
was recording.
it
I
was
did
not.
see that.
It was
Okay.
not recording. I started the recording at the point where Zavi was talking about communicating with actors. So I'm so sorry, Zavi, but we
That's
had a
fine.
nice session. We had a nice
We
session,
will
and you stick with us, please. Stick with us. You'll be here every day,
definitely.
please.
No, thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure. Like this is really a good initiative you're taking,
Thank you.
and
Thank you so much, Zavi.
it's and everybody can be a part of it. So you don't have to feel insecure of like if you are a mentor, if you are a student, if you have no experience, you're bringing everybody in here and trying to build a community, and that's really special what you're doing. So
Exactly.
thank you
It
for that.
went a little long for today. I'm sorry about that, but there was a lot to cover and we learned a lot. Before we leave, any other questions from anyone else? You can type it down or you can unmute your mic and start speaking if you want to. Let's stick to the points we discussed today. I know people are curious about the cinematography part too, because it's going to be pretty brief, pretty technical. Piyush.
Oh, so I will have to leave. I have an interview schedule in 2 minutes from Mumbai. So for the PR thing.
All right. All right.
Sorry for this. I mean, they just
Thanks a lot.
texted. I didn't realize that. I thought we'll be done by 2, but she just texted me before calling.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah. Sorry for
All
this.
it's been
right.
fun.
Yeah, I will join you guys
Perfectly.
tomorrow. Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely join us tomorrow. We'll be with Ahmed. We all know Ahmed.
Yeah, absolutely.
Zavi, please join us tomorrow for a session about cinematography. We'll be discussing about the tools, the equipment, specifically, the technical names for each equipment, plus the layman terms for each equipment, and the cinematographer's terms for each equipment. As we used to say, inky tweeny, we used to call our Apple boxes as just boxes, and their positions as New York, Chicago, and LA. So,
Yeah.
I've researched on some of the topics, on some of these, what do you want to say, these terms in India. They are pretty weird, but we'll be comparing them because we have a major audience from joining us from India who are interested in, cinematography and filmmaking. Stina is saying, I'm glad it went long because if it didn't, I wouldn't have made it here. Thank you so much, Stina. But
Thank you.
we start at 11:30 New York time, 11:30 a.m. And in India, it starts at 9 p.m. every day, um, no matter if it's Sunday or Saturday. Zavi, your ending comments, please.
Ending comments. No, I mean, I mentioned them earlier. Like it's a really beautiful thing that you're doing here right now. And in terms of filmmaking, I've mentioned these things before, but just remember that you know, as a filmmaker, as a director, it's your job to it's your vision basically that's coming to life. But you are nothing without every one of those people who are working on your set, because they're all true artists themselves, and so you want to collaborate with them. Yes, it's not a democracy. Filmmaking is not a democracy. It is there's a hierarchical structure, and it comes from you as the director, and people are supposed to follow. But within that, you need to give space to each person to collaborate, to contribute their ideas and their imagination. Because the more ideas each person has, sometimes they may differ with your ideas in mind, but sometimes they can do something better than what you had in mind. And that is the magic of filmmaking. So keep that in mind when working on sets with people.
Great point to end, brother.
Yeah, great point to end, Zavi. Definitely. So, everyone, I'm posting Zavi's Instagram down here below. Do follow him on Instagram, and do follow me if you don't do that. Let me post that too. If there's some guest over here and they don't follow me, please do follow me to get the updates for the next sessions in Cinelogy. We'll be having that. So I've mentioned
to my YouTube or my Vimeo if you can, if anybody wants to have a look at some of
sure.
my old projects.
I'll plug that in right now. I'll do that right now.
Good. Hey guys, I'll take a leave. So I'll see you tomorrow at the same time. Sorry for leaving early.
Thank you so much. Always a pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you guys for
Thank
coming.
you so-
Take care. Bye.
Thank you so much, Piyush. I'll see you tomorrow.
Take care. Bye.
Zavi, can you?
Sorry, my battery is also about to die soon.
Zavi, wait. Do you have links to your
Zaviar
YouTube?
Shah. Zaviarshah. Are you looking on YouTube or video?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I cannot find you.
Found it?
Nope.
Okay, leave it. And then
Yeah, I got it.
They go
I
on
got
my
it.
Instagram. Okay.
Got it.
Okay, wait. Which one is it? Because I have two. One is my like really old one. Well, is it the one with the Night in Brooklyn and all those films?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So that's the one. Yeah.
That's the one.
Okay.
I'll post it over here. Guys, do follow him on YouTube, and also check out Cinelogy on YouTube, where all these sessions will be posted. Do follow me on Instagram to know about the next upcoming sessions. Thank you so much, Zavi. It's been a fun but a long session.
Absolutely, sir. It's been an honor. Thank you.
For the director and actor's relationship, that was the topic of today. From tomorrow, obviously, it gets a little fun, a little less of a theory, but more of notes writing. So make sure all of you who are listening as of now, who are still with us, keep a notebook and a pencil with you. And as we move, do start noting things down, because it will be a lot of information that comes your way tomorrow. Thank you so much, Zavi. We'll end right here, and we'll see you tomorrow. Zavi will be also joining us tomorrow. Anyways, he'll be staying with us for the whole time that we do these episodes. Any suggestions that anyone has, DM me in the Instagram for sure about these sessions. How long should they be? Any suggestions, any comments, any complaints you have, you can do that. We were thinking about, Zavi, actually, you know what? We were thinking about doing this on Instagram, but it wouldn't have been this interactive as it gets over here, because it's a Zoom session, anyone can join in. But on Instagram, it would have been just you and me, and we would have been talking for the whole time. But I wanted it to be a little more interactive with these where you could share your own screen, I could share my screen, show something on the screen.
Yeah. And you make
same is the case.
You are uploading it on YouTube later anyway, so people can check it out from there.
Yeah.
I don't know if there is some way you can put the recording on Instagram live. I don't think so, right?
No, I cannot post this same thing on Instagram, but you know, I think Zoom gave me a paid account and I can broadcast this on YouTube while we are doing it over here. So it will be live on the YouTube channel once I start from here. That can be possible. I don't know how. I will search for it, but yeah, let me look for it. Let me look for it. Thank you so much, Zavi. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining in. We'll sign off now. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Peace. Bye-bye.
Peace.